Hello,
Hello.
welcome to the Take 5 podcast, where we will be discussing films of small and large productions. My guest today is someone who is a fellow film enthusiast, where we will be discussing and sharing our thoughts on Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas. Welcome today's guest, Callum.
Oh,
Roll the intro. Hello, Callum. How have you been then during
I've
this
been
lockdown period?
I've been pretty good, mate. It's been going on a bit mental around the world, but I mean, I'm coping. All going all right. Movies
Good
kept me
to
through it.
hear. Glad to hear. I mean, I myself haven't been doing too bad. I've been doing a lot of creative stuff lately.
Yeah.
Um, Writing some projects, got some new ones coming up. So that'll be something to keep an eye out for. So, Goodfellas. What did you think of it as
Brilliant.
a whole?
Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I love. There's a lot of aspects to it to enjoy. It's not just you've got the bog standard mafia movies they release where it's just you got obviously at the top you got The Godfather. I don't know if you've seen The Irishman. You got
Yeah, yeah,
Goodfellas. They're all right at the top, and you've got some of the ones that are like The Godfather 3. It's good, but
yeah.
Um, it's really one of the top ones. One
Hmm.
of Scorsese's best, I think, actually.
Yeah, I
Um,
do like. I mean, I haven't seen the Godfather films yet.
yeah,
They're on my watch list, definitely.
fantastic.
I still need to see them, but I mean, I do like a good Scorsese film.
Who doesn't?
Um, what's your favourite film of Scorsese, actually? Seeing as we're on the topic.
Ooh, I quite like Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, that is an interesting one. That is an interesting one.
Lots and lots of swearing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I quite liked Shutter Island. I found that quite clever.
I saw that one. I've not seen that in a long time. Maybe 3 or 4 years. Good
Ooh.
twist to it.
I mean, I saw it a couple of months ago, actually.
Yeah,
It's an outstanding psychological thriller.
yeah. When I first
Now,
saw it, yeah,
back to Goodfellas.
yeah, yeah.
The beginning was is an interesting one because it starts like a third of the way through the film, where
Yeah.
you have obviously the driving and then someone banging on the boot, and then they're all of a sudden killing, and then burying the guy in the boot.
Yeah.
Um, and then it jumps into the voiceover. Did you find that? Did you feel as though that was an effective way to start the film?
I think it was because you don't expect it. Like if you just go with the
Yeah,
standard, starts off as top gang, and then bit by bit they kind of get killed off, and then it comes down to whatever members. And he went with a different approach because it's like, oh, this is different. It gets you into the movie straight away. Whereas most movies,
hmm.
it's like, I'm trying to think of an example. I'll compare it to Godfather actually. It starts off quite slow and kind of gets into it towards the end in each one. Whereas for this, you think, oh, when's it going to start? And then out of nowhere it hits you. It gets straight into it. And it's like, okay, and that's just happening, and it's forcing you to pay
Yeah,
attention.
yeah. Um, I mean, I liked it. I liked it as well because you have that kind of it does throw you into the action,
Yeah,
but then also it kind of it gets you thinking who or what happened. Why did they do what happened? Why did they kill the guy? What did the guy do?
yeah,
And you're already thinking about the rising action
exactly.
for the story. And then obviously um, punch zoom, and we have the voiceover.
That's
Um,
one of
yeah,
the many
what
things
do
I
you think?
like about it. The voiceover I love. It's interesting because
Yeah,
a lot of movies are scared to do it. They can't do it right. If you could do a voiceover, anyone could do a voiceover, but uh, to do it correctly, you've got to really have someone. Ray Liotta has a voice for it, definitely.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Gives it wouldn't have worked with Pesci as well
No,
or De Niro as well.
yeah,
He just had the
um,
good voice.
yeah. I mean, the voiceovers are difficult from because coming from a writing standpoint,
Yeah,
I feel voiceovers are hard because you have to kind of include the story and
yeah,
the character's point of view, but then you're also having to inform the audience and trying to juggle all of those three are are
hard
can be hard.
task.
And
But
yeah, and for Scorsese to kind of nail it and kind of I think introduce it and have it as like a major point
yeah,
in the film um, is so clever.
yeah, not a lot of actors, a lot of not directors can pull it off. It's hard.
Mm.
A lot of directors go for. You've got different tiers of directors, you know, and they've all got their own style. But what I love about Scorsese is the way he cuts in movies, the way he directs them. You know what I mean? Jumbling all that stuff together. It's a risk because if
Mm.
it doesn't go right, you've got a botched movie. But
Yeah,
he takes risks, and that's what makes him one of the best directors, and why
yeah,
Goodfellas is one of his best movies because he thinks I'm going to do this, so I'm going to go for it. I'm going to jumble this together, and it's going to work. And he doesn't think, oh, you know, he knows who he is, he knows what he's
mm.
doing. The cast is amazing as well. He just throws everything in there. That's why I think it's just probably it's in my top 10, I'd say.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
definitely a good shout for it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this film though, this film, I love this film because it's slow. It's not too slow
Yeah,
that you kind of lose your way, but then it's not far. It's not far. It's not your typical fast-paced film. It kind of draws you in the right amount and at the
exactly.
right speed to help you in a way I feel cope with the tone of the film because it has quite a dark tone
Yeah,
for kind of like a your standard gang film.
there's a few things that you expect going to these types of movies. You know, think okay, there's going to be a couple of people getting shot. There's going to be
Mm,
people being betrayed, that sort of stuff, and the whole inside job sort of stuff happens quite a lot. You're used to that.
yeah,
But like I said, there's a certain pace to the movie where he sets it out so it's fast at some points, it's slow at some points. Where some, like Godfather, I feel slow all the way through,
mm,
and you got like no, it starts off at the bottom, gets slower, then it gets faster and faster and faster, and then it declines again. With this, it's at any point anything can happen. When it gets to
yeah,
around about a third of the way through the movie, you got loads of random
yeah,
stuff that happens, like all, like the bar scenes, stuff like that. And he manages to squeeze comedy in there, which I like as well, because a lot of them try and be sort of serious. And there's a lot of them that are
mm,
quite serious, and they try and
yeah,
keep that tone of staying dark. He manages to keep that tone of staying dark while putting comedy in there, which why I love it because it's like you get to enjoy yourself instead of just being jammed into a story about the father he rules or he's the boss and then he kills him and so on and so on.
mm. Hmm. Now the opening credits. Yes,
Yeah,
I know it's a small part. Not many people pay attention to them, but I found them quite um, I found them quite clever. The graphics and the graphic design for them, the animations were so intricate and so kind of matched with the tone of the film that you from what we had just seen.
yeah. I've noticed that in a lot of Scorsese movies. He does that with most.
Yeah,
He does it with The Wolf of Wall Street with the he sets the tone straight away with the opening
yeah,
credits. Him talking about how good his life is in Wolf of Wall Street, and I got
yeah,
this, I got all this money in the boats, and it sets you up for what the movie is and who the character is. Does the
yeah,
same thing with Goodfellas. You get an idea of what you're watching before you see it, instead of
yeah,
you jumping into it and being clueless. And then
yeah,
you go back to the whole point of, oh, okay, I've got an idea, and it gets you intrigued into the characters by the opening credits, and then, oh, I want more. So you're waiting and waiting, and then you get the incline. And that's what it said, third way through the movie. You get the voiceover, and you get the kind of boot, or the
yeah,
killing starts. It's a good way to sell up.
yeah, definitely. Um, Now the portrayal of violence I've got written down here. I found that Scorsese in this film in particular has the right amount of violence and the right level for it to show that the gang life is gory,
Yeah,
but then also he kind of he introduces violence to the young gangster, the young up and coming gangster, slowly,
yeah.
and as the film builds, as the character gets old, as the characters get older, the violence kind of increases. What did you think of that?
It's good because there's different types of action. Obviously, you've got like the gory stuff. You got the stuff you have in more like the like in Transformers. You've got like the explosions, like the Michael Bay stuff, explosions and
Mm,
fire. With this, it's just straight out dark, gory stuff, and it's put in at the right times. They don't overdo it.
Mm.
'Cause if you overuse it, it's a bit like, oh, yeah, you know, it gets a bit excessive.
Mm.
It's when you get the bursts or the shocks of a character dying, which we'll get to probably a bit later. But,
Yeah.
it's like, oh wow, it hits you, and you're like, oh no, and then it gets you into the movie. Whereas if it's just like every 5 minutes you get this guy getting shot and this guy getting stabbed, you're kind of like used to it, and you're like, oh, he's probably gonna die, and you can then you start to read the movie. It's not
Yeah.
fun anymore, and then you know what's gonna happen. You're like, oh, I can expect that's gonna happen. And you go, yeah, I was right. And you're kind of
Yeah.
sat there thinking, oh, I know what's gonna happen next. But you're just second guessing yourself every moment. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, no, that's gonna happen, and it doesn't happen, and you're like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, what was quite clever was the way Scorsese showed the kind of the high life, as it were, of gang life, and how he didn't show how the high life is violence. He showed it as like you have the high life. It's nice, it's quiet, it's peaceful. He's not showing the violence, which is which I find so clever with the way, in respect to writing and the way he show and visually as well.
Yeah. It's clever because got there's a word out of my head. Completely lost me now. It's the way he portrays the characters as well. They're all completely different on the way they view violence. You got one of them, you know, I mean, Joe Pesci's character, Tommy DeVito. He's like just kind of hellbent. He's a bit angry. He's like, I'll do what I want. And you've got Ray Liotta, who's obviously the new guy. He's a bit the younger guy, and they're taking him on. He's new to this whole thing, and he's a bit like, oh, shoddy on the violence. And Jimmy, Robert De Niro, he's kind of in between. I see them as like he's like the in between. He's with the violence and against the violence. You know what I mean? Like, it goes to a certain extent. Like you said, I feel like the violence is portrayed more through Tommy, and portrayed the high life is shown a lot with Henry. Obviously, in the end, Tommy's character gets what he deserves. Well, it depends. It depends on the way you look at it, because they are really the bad guys. But because of the way the movie's set, they're good guys, and they're the actors we love. So we go, we're enjoying the movie. But they're mafia people. You know what I mean? They're bad people. They kill people. They take money. But we see these as the heroes in the movie. It should be the other way around. In any other crime movie, we'd see them, and we'd have like the police or the detectives hunt them down. And we'd be like, they take them down, they finally get them, and that's like the relief of the movie. It completely turns it on its head.
Yeah, definitely. The speed and the amount of information that's coming to you with the voiceover is just so incredibly fast, and yet the film still manages to keep its slow pace in the beginning and builds you up, because you get so much story and so much character from that first however long that voiceover is. And it is interesting. And now what I was going to say has gone out of my head.
Happens all the time, mate.
But yeah, that voiceover with the speed of the story that's being told of the young gangster, because you don't really see much of him, of the young Henry.
Yeah.
However, you do hear and see a lot about Henry within the first 10 minutes of the film.
I feel like you don't get as much as him because obviously he has the voiceover. You get most of the information off his character based off the voiceover, whereas the visuals are mainly based on Jimmy and Tommy.
Yeah.
Whereas if they were to give you the same story as Henry, and the same, all of them giving them the information by visuals and by acting and through the actors, plus the voiceover, you've got that extra information. That's like he's done it very smartly, Scorsese, because he's done it. Is that English very smartly? I don't know. Maybe I should rethink that. But I'm trying to think. But Scorsese is just a genius the way he portrays it, because it's like, right, so I'm going to take this character, and they're going to find out all about him, mainly through him speaking. So you're listening to that, while you get to visualize stuff instead of having to focus on all the characters at once and so what's he like?
Mm.
So you get this character and he does this. You get to listen and you're watching, so you can find out simultaneously. And it gives you a bit more
Yeah.
information and helps you understand it easier. But it also keeps a slow tone and helps you
Yeah.
understand the movie instead of it being rushed
Exactly.
and going straight through. Like some movies, they develop the character too quickly and they try and. There's a lot of deaths in movies where they go, "Oh no, it's obviously portrayed, so it's made to look like it's sad and it's supposed to make you sad," and you're like,
Mm.
have you seen Pitch Black before?
No, I have not.
There is a death in that movie, and
Mm.
there's a certain character, and they are made to like when they die, it's sad music and it's emotional, and it's not sad though. You're like, you don't care. You just like
Mm.
that's the exact thing I hate in a lot of movies is when the director thinks they've got nailed the character and they've got all the visuals down, and yeah, he's like really dark, and everyone's gonna love it when he dies, and because they're gonna be so sad. But then you're like a bit disappointed. They're like, oh, I didn't really like his character anyway, so I don't really care that he's dead.
Yeah.
At any
Exactly.
point, you're thinking you don't want any of these guys to die.
Yeah.
Gets you hooked.
Yeah. One thing that Scorsese nails in this film is the needle drop.
Yeah.
I mean, the scoring for this film, the music used, you don't expect any of it because when you notice it, by the time you notice it, you're just sort of like, wait, hang on a second, when did this song start playing?
Exactly.
Or when, and you don't hear the music coming along. It just sort of, it kind of slides in, but then it's all perfectly suited to the tone.
Yeah.
That you don't notice it as much compared to other films, I feel.
Got some. Well, Scorsese chose the music a lot for himself, didn't
Yeah.
he? What was it he said about them? He said something about the. He used the word bleak. I remember reading that. I'll search that up. I don't remember the quote. What was it? I'll give it a search quick. What was it he said? Yeah, it says they comment on the scenes or characters in an oblique way. So
Mm.
he chose all the songs specifically for scenes for certain characters.
Yeah.
So it sets up a certain tone. So I feel like I don't remember the exact music for every single scene, but I feel like a lot of the stuff for Tommy Pesci's character was sort of suspenseful. He was a
Yeah.
bit hot-headed. A lot of the stuff um, for Henry, Ray
Mm.
Liotta's character, was kind of a bit more loose. You're a bit
Yeah.
more relaxed watching him, and it's like a bit more funny. You had the scene where Joe Pesci jokes with him, and they're sat at the table laughing and drinking.
Yeah.
And again, for Jimmy Conway, I think for De Niro's character, it's a bit mixed as well. He's like the one who gets a bit of both. There's suspenseful music for a lot of his scenes. There's a bit there's chilled out music for a lot of his scenes. And I feel like he's a mix of both characters.
Yeah.
Kind of portrays both of them.
Yeah.
Henry's got calm. You got Pesci's, Tommy's just super hot-headed. Jimmy Conway's in the middle, and he's like the balanced guy, and he's relaxed. And the way he uses music is brilliant because it's like if you choose the wrong stuff, if you have a character who's angry and kills people, and you get all the dandy, happy music,
Mm.
it's not going to go well. And then if you have a character who's happy and you give obviously a lot of directors know that, but it is a thing I've noticed in a lot of movies people get wrong. They don't know when to choose certain scores.
Mm.
He did it really well, especially considering he chose it himself. A lot of directors
Yeah.
kind of go, "Oh yeah, you do that for me," and then give it to me, and he's just gone, "Oh, I want that, I want that."
Yeah. Exactly. Now, speaking of that bar scene, that first bar scene with Pesci and Ray, um, the way I've written it down is the funny house scene. That moment in the film
Brilliant.
is brilliant. Yeah, it's one of the best moments. What did you think of that scene when it came to the writing?
It was very. You weren't sure whether he was actually joking or whether he was
Yeah.
actually like, "I'm going to kill this guy." Like,
Yeah.
like, funny how? And he's like, oh. And obviously Henry's new, and the whole thing is that he's playing with him. Be like, is he playing with him or is he trying to shoot him in the face or something? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And he's like, funny. Pesci's acting is immaculate in that scene.
Yeah.
Because I read about obviously you've got lots of reshoots, right?
Yeah.
He's a what I love actually is that Pesci's apparently got links to mafia in real life. I don't know about that because he's Italian. Not that he's part of the mafia, but he's friends with them, and there's lunch with them sometimes, and they do little meetings and deals and stuff like that. He's apparently well known to be friends with them. And someone said that who is it? Do you know Mark Kermode? You must know him, the movie reviewer. You know who he is? Movie critic?
No, I think I've heard of him.
They do a show called Kermode and Mayo. Simon Mayo and Mark Kermode, and they say that's the best presentation of a mafia character ever in any movie, they think. Joe Pesci's character.
Yeah.
Damn right, yeah. He's friends with them, so he's probably been around a lot of them.
Yeah.
Just serious, he's like, funny how? He's like, oh, joking, he's like, funny how?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. It made me laugh, and then you realise, I like Henry. I'd say Henry, between Henry and Tommy's character, my favourite. And I didn't want either of them to die or anything. I was like,
yeah. I mean, what I found out about that scene though was that because I was watching Scorsese's masterclass.
Yeah.
And he was talking about working with actors and letting actors play around, and he was talking about this scene, the funny house scene in particular, and how how Pesci just sort of felt so comfortable in his character, and it was just, and then there was the "you're really funny" line.
Yeah.
And then Pesci literally just went,
yeah,
funny how, and he
You're a
just
funny
started,
guy.
and then they just started rolling off each other,
and
that sense, that realism and that confusion in Ray's face is so candid and so like, hang on a second, where are we taking this? What?
Well, I do.
Don't. Why are you pointing a gun at me? Sort of like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is new to me. I don't want my mate shooting me.
Best stuff is. Oh, sorry. Continue. What were you saying?
That was just amazing.
The best thing is the characters in the background aren't laughing because they know Tommy's joking. But
yeah.
The only one who doesn't know he's joking is Henry, and they're all like acting serious as well, and they're in the background. And it's when he says, "Oh, you're a funny guy," and he's laughing and he has a drink, and it's sort of over his shoulder. The shot's like sort of not over his shoulder, but it's like
yeah.
Because Pesci's to his right, and he just looks at him, and he stares at him, and you're like, "Oh, what's going on?" And you're like, well, the first time I saw that, I thought he was going to shoot him. I was waiting for him to shoot him. I was like, he's going to shoot him. And he goes, oh, and what was it he says? What was it he says to him? When he finds out that he's joking. He calls him out. He calls him an asshole, doesn't he? I think.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Not exactly.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact line, but I like that he didn't have to wait for Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci wasn't going to let him figure out that he was joking. By telling him, he was waiting for him to figure out himself. He wasn't gonna, so he didn't find out.
Yeah, exactly.
He just sat there and waited, and he was like, "Oh, you're messing with me," and he was like, "Yeah, obviously."
yeah. The next shot I want to talk about, or the next moment, is that one shot in that really long 2-minute one shot where we see Ray's character Henry walking his girlfriend, I'm assuming, down through the behind of the theatre and into the theatre. That shot has a lot of movement and it's got a lot of action, and it's all kind of like, and it's all contrasted by the music and the characters, but the music suits the two characters that are walking down, and it's just a fitting moment. What did you think of that shot?
I agree with you. Scorsese does that, and there's a lot of, I've noticed certain things he does in all of his movies. He'll have one of those in every movie, or maybe more than one. He did it. He did it in Wolf of Wall Street. Right, like I said, right at the start, the very first sequence, where he has sort of upbeat music, fast paced, and he talks about his life, and there's a voiceover in that as well. There's not a voiceover in Shutter Island, is there? But obviously there's a big twist in that.
Yeah.
Can't remember there being one of those in Shutter Island, with the music. When he walks in, there's the creepy stuff. You can't really say it's a track.
No.
Yeah, the music fits them both, and it's tough because they're not similar characters. But he managed to find a track that contrasts with them both. Obviously, he's a mob boss. and he's a bit dark.
Mm.
Actually, I've got a question about that in a second. It's so hard to find. Like, I'm trying to think of two characters are opposite. It's like if you were to go with Darth Vader and Luke and find a bit of music for those two in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, one's the bad guy, one's the good guy. You can't find that music. With this, I mean, Karen's not the good guy, but she's completely different to him, and he finds a track that matches him. And I mean, and the second time I see the movie, you notice those things. Well, the first time I watched the movie, it's like all I remember is watching the movie, and I noticed the music, and there's some good scenes. And then you get into the sort of in depth, and you listen to the music. And then the third time, I see like all the little Easter eggs and the little hints, and then you think, oh, you could have seen that on before. There's so many different things throughout the movie that he nails, and I love it. That's why I just go straight up there. It's amazing. I think the music's probably the second best thing about the movie. I like the acting in general. I think is the best thing. But the music he nails every scene. Got their own. He's got each tone for each character. He's got his own music for each scene. Like I said, he picked it himself, which is brilliant because if you mess up on that, it's over. You've got a completely wrongful music for a scene. You've messed up. It's like how does the music go in that scene? I got the first 10 seconds in my head. I can't remember.
Yeah. I remember. I forget the track. I forget the name of the track. But I know. Yeah, that song is. It's an interesting song because it's so upbeat. It's so kind of like cheerio. It's like, oh, I'm great. Or in relation to that character anyway. It's like, oh, I'm great. There's nothing bad about me. Why could there be anything bad about me? And then, but obviously, in fact, that's a great moment of dramatic irony actually, because we know that he's a gangster, and so he's not the best guy, and he's going to have loads of secrets, and yet his partner in that scene has no clue about any of that, and so that music suits, so in a way, actually thinking about it, that music's not for him.
Yeah.
It's not his character's music. It's his character's music through the eyes of his partner.
Yeah. That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, I just sort of put that together. But yeah, now you mentioned you had a question.
Yeah, I was wondering because her name's Karen, right? His girlfriend.
Yeah.
The whole way through, she never leaves him. She never does.
Yeah.
That's what confused me. At no point does she think, right, I'm out, or I'm going to drop off. She stays with him, and I don't know. I expected it to happen at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So Pesci. How far in was it Pesci got dropped off? 2/3, something like that. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
3/4, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the movie, I was expecting a downfall of every character. I was thinking, right, he's going to lose his girlfriend. I thought maybe Jimmy might die as well. I was like, yeah, he's going to get just put off to the side. They're going to kill him somewhere. It just confused me. Like I thought, yeah, that she's definitely going to leave him. He's going to find out all the stuff about him, and he's a mob boss, and she's going to go, you're horrible, and she's going to either die, which is going to make him upset, or she's going to just go, yeah, I'm off. I was wondering, why do you think she didn't leave him?
Well, I think she didn't leave him because she realised that because you don't see it in him because it's not on the surface level of his character, but you can, but kind of if you're watching his character carefully, you can see him start to kind of second guess some of like Jimmy's moves, and what he does, and he starts second guessing everything, and he's kind of like, hang on, that's not so safe. Hang on, that's not so safe. And then, but then, you can also see that he's actually, yes, okay, he can be called extremely cold-hearted, and he'll go do a hit, happily do a hit on someone.
Yeah.
But the fact is that he's actually, you can see that he's a genuine person. He's caring. It may yes, okay, he cheated on his wife with another girl.
Yeah.
But she realized that um, he's a genuine person, and that he may have done a lot of wrong. He may have done loads of gang stuff, which she ends up finding out about, or starts to figure out anyway.
Yeah.
And but she sees the genuine side of him, and she's like, well, why should I rid him of being able to see his child if he is such a genuine person?
There's two sides to him, isn't there?
Yeah,
It's weird. I said he's the lightest out of all the mobsters. He's the
yeah,
nicest. But he's still nasty.
yeah.
But she has this whole thing where she knows he's doing all the stuff and he's cheated, but I don't think she knows the full picture. She knows he's horrible, but not to any extent.
Yeah.
But she still sees him as her boyfriend and her man and that sort of thing. And it's like, oh, it's fine. I'd be so nasty. I couldn't do it to him, make him stop seeing his child and stuff like that. If she was actually to see the full picture and know, I think, every detail, then I don't know, because the way her character is, she's just very forgiving throughout the whole
Yeah.
thing. Everything she finds out about him, she's like, oh well, I'll put it over my shoulder.
I mean, I guess also though the reason why she sticks with him is because when they first got married.
Yeah.
Well, no, not when they first got married. They only get married once. But when they get married, as soon as they got married, and they were living with her parents. If you remember, her mum was constantly going, why is he out so late? Why does he always do this?
Yeah.
My husband never did this." And she was always comparing her daughter's husband to her own husband. And she and oh, what's the character's name?
Karen.
Karen, that's it. Yeah. And yet Karen's always like, no, he's allowed to do that. He can. If he's only with his friends. He won't be going out cheating on me, because we've just married. He is clearly in love with me, and all of that stuff. And then obviously later on, he ends up cheating on her. But when the marriage was fresh, there was nothing there. There was no reason for him to go and cheat. There was nothing. There's nothing there for him that he didn't want. But then obviously you kind of see him kind of fall away as time went on.
I think there's a conflict in him because he's trying to stick with his life with his wife, and he's trying to have the mother life, but he can't have both.
Yeah.
The more you get through the movie, he starts to collapse and crumble, and he just becomes a worse and worse person. He's trying to balance being with his wife and be a mobster and kill people and go and sleep with all these other women, and he can't do it. Obviously, in the end, it all slips out, and it gets the best of him.
Yeah.
And that was his mistake in a way, is he had to choose. Either he left the guys, which potentially could have got himself killed because obviously he's now a leak and he could go and tell people, or he leaves his wife and stays with them. And he thought, no, I'll try and keep both of them. And that's why I think he's the nicest out of the lot, because the other two kind of left that life behind. They were full on committed to this like whole mobster thing, and he was like new to it. And he's like, no, it's okay. I think I can do two. It doesn't work out for him in the end.
Also, do you have any other questions about the film for me?
Tommy, he gets away with quite a lot, I think.
Yes.
For a long time.
Yeah.
And I was confused. Right, so obviously at some point in the movie, I said it's about 3/4 in, wasn't it? He gets killed. I was expecting him to die earlier. He's nasty. I was like, out of all of them, I expected him to die. But obviously he kills. What's his character's name? Spider, kid. He shoots him, doesn't he? What he says to him? He's talking about. He shoots him in the leg the first time.
Yeah.
And he comes back, and then he's like, "Oh, get me another beer." And then Wilder says to him, he's, what was it? What was it he said? He said, "Go after yourself," didn't he?
Yeah.
Then at that point he went, "Oh," and then he pulls the gun out and just shoots him. And it's like,
Yeah.
of all of them, I was least upset of him. He's probably my favorite actor out of the three, but for
Yeah.
as a character, I was expecting to die. It's like, he's horrible. He killed this
Yeah.
kid, and I love the way that De Niro's character goes, "Oh, you shot him, man. Oh well," and I kind of like, it's like normal for them. They're kind of used to
Yeah.
it. Trades obviously how far into it they are, and that's what confuses me is after that, Jimmy and Henry don't stop him from being horrible. Now his mates, they don't ever try and stop him.
Yeah.
He's kind of just doing his own thing, and for a long
Yeah.
time, he just leads on and leads on. So yeah, why do you think that they don't stop him, and why they kind of let him do his own thing?
Well, I think the reason why they let him do his own thing is because, especially after that moment, where from the film from when they're in the pub and Tommy's friend who he hasn't seen in 10 years, who was when he was a shoe cleaner, when he kind of annoys Pesci's character Tommy.
Yeah.
And then Tommy does what he does. I think that's when they realised, hang on a second, this he's not messing about, and that's when they were like, there's no point in trying to save him now. He's gone over the edge. And then that moment that you were on about in the bar where he shoots the butler or the person serving them.
Yeah.
Because he that's when they're like, I'm not going to say anything because he could shoot me.
Yeah.
Because also Ray's character Henry, because in that scene, I remember if I remember, the waiter says, "You're a funny guy," and then Tommy just loses it and shoots him, and then Ray's reminded of that moment in the bar at the beginning of the film, and then he's like, "He didn't shoot me, but now he's just gone and shot that guy."
Yeah.
He's changed and he's gone over the edge. There's no saving him, and I think that's why he's
Like you said as well earlier, you mentioned that they've always got the gun at hand. He's ready, and he just breaks and just goes, "Oh well," and pulls the gun out and shoots this guy a few times in the chest. And they're just like, "Oh, you killed him. Oh, well, no. Oh, just hide the body." Whereas, someone like us, we see someone die, we're like, being they're so used to it, it doesn't faze them. They're just like, "Oh well, it's normal."
Yeah.
Who was it that what character was it that takes the mick out of him for shining shoes? Was it because there's two?
Billy Bats. That's it.
Billy Bats.
Frank Vincent's character. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's loads of characters. I forget Samuel Jackson's in this as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. No. Yeah.
He's stacked.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah, that's one of his. How old would he been then? He was like in his 40s then, but that
one
was
of his first roles.
Yeah.
In his early career.
He gets killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he takes the mick out.
And then he gets killed. He's sort of like in and out.
At the time seeing the movie, I didn't know that he was a small role, so I was like, "Oh, Sam, he's going to be a big character." Oh, he's on there for 2 minutes. They shot him in the face.
Yep. That was quite funny actually.
Yeah.
Because obviously you and I grew up with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Because obviously from like things like from Star Wars to now the Avengers, and so to us, in our generation, he's like one of the biggest actors.
Oh yeah.
And yet, finding out that he was in Goodfellas, we're like, oh, he's going to have a big role, and then you just sort of see in one of your generation's biggest actors
get dropped off
get dropped off within minutes of meeting them.
Exactly, and it shows the power that they have.
But
obviously at the time he wasn't a big actor, so that wasn't a plan of Scorsese's because he'd done a few little things, but at the time he kind of just killed them off. But it worked in the way that, okay, if they're going to kill off this character, then these guys are obviously they're top dogs, they're top of the line.
Yeah.
And that's another one of the things in the movies is unexpected. You're expecting him to go on and then just shoot him, and it's like, oh, okay. What's happen next?
Yeah, that was quite a funny scene because the comedy is in that scene, with the tea, or the coffee or whatever drink was being made, because Pesci's character just goes. So Pesci's character's asked if he wants tea. He goes, "Yeah, I'll have a tea." And then they go, and then he asks for the money. He gets the money. Then bang, 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 he's dead. And then his friend's making the tea. And then as he's going out, he's like, "Oh wait, are we leaving already? You haven't even had your tea." And he goes, "What? No, I'm not. I don't want any tea." And he's like, "Oh, do you want it?" And then he brings the tea with him. And he's like, "No." That was an amazing piece of comedy from Scorsese.
That's why I love Joe Pesci. Have you seen the Lethal Weapon movies?
No, I haven't seen. I mean, that's another thing on my to add to my watch list.
Pesci's really good in that because he's a comedy character and he has a obsessive thing where he always says, "Okay." He goes, "Okay, okay, 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 okay." And he's like this annoying. He has the same sort of voice. That reminds me of that scene. They're going, give him the tea. He's like, "No, no, I don't want the tea. Just go away, go away." And then it's like, "No, take the." He's like, "No, go away. Don't want the tea. Don't want the tea." Every movie he's in, he's the comedic character.
Yeah,
Comedic character.
yeah. Like,
And
he's um Pesci. I mean, Pesci. When it comes to comedy, he is amazing. He's great at comic relief in films, especially like this one, because
yeah,
his comic relief in this was just wonderfully mastered and timed, and it was, and when the moment called for it, it was amazing. And I mean, the comic relief is from Pesci is, as we know, introduced from the beginning of the film, and
yeah,
and you kind of get this kind of like constant dips in his character when he goes really dark. But as soon as he goes dark, the comic relief comes out, and
yeah,
and that's actually, I feel, what helps kind of it in a way sort of masks the extreme darkness in the film.
yeah.
And so all the darkness that is there, you're like, oh, well, he's laughing about it, so
Makes
I'm
you
gonna
laugh.
laugh about it.
That's why I love him as an actor because a lot of movies you've got actors that are good at relieving tension.
Mm.
Um, I'd say more like Iron Man in the Marvel movies. You get a big
Yeah,
dramatic scene, and he cracks a couple of jokes off and makes a few things about himself being rich, and then makes you laugh, and you forget that there's a big moment going on, and there are people are dying or people are getting hurt. He can do
yeah,
both. He raises it by killing people, and then he makes these jokes to, oh yeah, he just killed a guy, and he goes, you're like, oh, it's still processing. Samuel Jackson's dead, and he makes a jokes about not wanting tea.
mm.
It's like out of nowhere.
Yeah,
That's what like he can either build the tension, and then he can build his own tension up, and then bring it straight back down again just by making the joke.
yeah,
And it's hard to do that because obviously, as an actor, you're either really good with emotions, where you portray yourself as like angry, like he does when he gets the whole shoe shining thing, and you're a funny guy. And that's
mm.
the sort of character, like, well, it's like I said in Iron Man, he's the one who reduces all of the tension, and then the person who builds it up is Captain America because he's like we've got a problem here, tough guy, and he's that guy. But then, oh, joke, and you're like, oh, okay, and then out of
Mm.
nowhere he'll just go and shoot someone again, and then he'll make a joke about it, and it's
Yeah,
bouncing your mind between all these different. You're trying to process everything.
yeah,
Um, he's good in everything he's been in. He was good in Home Alone. He was funny in that. I've not seen loads of stuff that he's been in, but a
yeah.
lot.
So,
Irishman, he was
yeah,
really good in.
that
I
was
loved him
that
in
was
that.
stunning.
Yeah,
That film, that would be something to
yeah.
talk about. Well then, thank you very much for joining me this week.
You're very welcome.
Uh, Callum's going to be here again next week, where we will be discussing 1917.
Mhm.
Um, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Take Five podcast. As you know, the usual links will be in the description. My latest film, my Instagram, all of that stuff. Now, when it comes to social media links, is there a social media that you'll throw people to?
I do have a YouTube channel that I don't haven't used in a long time, but I game quite a lot myself.
Yep.
My YouTube channel is I made the corn pop. That's it's. Oh, it doesn't matter with the caps, does it? But
Mm.
that is. Well, I do a bit of gaming. I've not uploaded in a while, but I'm going to start uploading on that. So it'd be really nice if I could kind of get a link in there and so people check
Yeah.
out my channel and see if you like any of my content and the game stuff. I might do some movie stuff on there as well. Depends, but I'm starting to sort out. Got my new webcam and stuff like that now, so I'll be uploading frequently on there.
Yep. Okay. So that'll be in there as well. thank you very much. Thank you very much, Callum, as well, for
Welcome.
agreeing to come on. See you all next week.